Tell Your Tale is canon. It's up when it's not, and that's kind of just like the bottom line of it all. I'm surprised by how many people think otherwise though. By the way, hi, I'm Quantum. I haven't uploaded a video in like 3 months. I got that Make Your Mark upload schedule, for real, for real. I want to talk about canon and what it exactly means when pertaining to MLP. Spoilers for Make Your Mark Chapter 4, by the way. If you haven't watched it yet, the fuck is wrong with you? Go and watch it right now. I fucking love it. Anyways, the big what the fuck moment of the entire chapter has gotta be the Celestia and Luna flashback, right? I mean, that shit had me freaking the fuck out.
When I was growing up in Skyross.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Pause it. Pause it. And to that end, I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking about 2 supposed inconsistencies regarding this scene. Firstly would be that Celestia doesn't have an entirely pink mane. And like, y'all really need to stop regarding so much headcanon as fact. In no official instance has Celestia ever been depicted with an entirely pink mane. That's only the case for that one fan animation that I can't remember the name of, and Princess Celestia, both of which were based on the pilot episode and nowhere else. We literally see Philly Celestia in one of the comics, and she has an all-rainbow mane. Now this is where a lot of people, refute and say that the comics aren't canon, or shouldn't be regarded as canon due to being inconsistent. Hell, Luna's hair in this page is literally wrong and was even accurately depicted by a prior comic featuring the younger 2 sisters. To those people, I say shut up and keep watching. The other apparent revelation was of alicorns being from a place called Skyross. And, like, I want to say most people know about the Journal of the 2 Sisters, but for those who don't, it's a book written from the perspective of a young Celestia and Luna. And in it very clearly stated that they were natural-born alicorns and were chosen from a tribe to rule Equestria. From this, we can deduce that Make Your Mark is expanding upon this and is retroactively naming the alicorn domain Skyross. It makes total sense until some wayward analyst swiftly informs you that this cannot be canon, because in Season 6, Episode 1, Celestia and Luna say,
"The birth of an alicorn is something Equestria has never seen.
It is beyond even our understanding."
Now, I've heard tons of rationalizations for this. For instance, Celestia specifically saying in Equestria could imply that she was referencing them being born outside of Equestria, or maybe even before the conception of the kingdom. The second theory is very much wrong, considering that Equestria is literally a thing in this book. It's like the entire reason Celestia and Luna are writing. And the first theory can be easily debunked by Luna's following line. No. I think there's a really good explanation as to how all of this makes sense. You see, the writers just fucking forgot. This is an obscure piece of media. Of course they wouldn't know Celestia and Luna are naturally born alicorns, and when the only evidence of the genesis of an alicorn in the show is Twilight's transformation, then of fucking course the writers would assume that Celestia and Luna weren't naturally born too. I'm sorry, I gotta be real with you guys. I hate theorizing, and I especially hate theorizing about the future of the series before we have all the answers. Don't look for any trace of sawtooth waves inside of me. Not that I would want that nowadays. Anyways, it's totally fine to come up with theories. Sometimes even I can't help it. My gay little headcanon is that there was a magical atmosphere that surrounded the kingdom of Skyross that allowed for alicorns to be born naturally. So when the magical atmosphere eventually disappeared, the alicorn tribe slowly died out and left Celestia, Luna, and Opaline. How does this theory explain Flurry Heart?
Shut up!
Anyways, yeah, the MLP writers probably just didn't know this existed, and I really didn't want to waste time thinking about it because it just wasn't worth thinking about. I was never gonna trust a writing staff that only met up in between every season to maintain continuity of My Little Pony lore. We reserve that fixation for only the most autistic of individuals, like me. However, I've allowed myself to theorize about this ever since Chapter 4 came out, mainly because 1, G5 is doing a damn serviceable job of being a compelling follow-up to the lore established in G4, at least to me it is, and 2, Make Your Mark is created by G.M. Barrow, the author of the My Little Pony chapter books, which are some pretty obscure pieces of media, and now more than ever, I think MLP would be okay with acknowledging some of the events in those as canon. Take, Cadence's backstory in the first book. It's the only evidence we ever got for where she came from, and it was acknowledged that she was an orphan in the comics. It could all be made official with a flick of a pen. Of course, the Journal of the 2 Sisters was written by Amy Keating Rogers, not G.M. Barrow. Do I think that the Make Your Mark writers actually read the Journal of the 2 Sisters? Honestly, no. I think it was just a happy coincidence that these two things lined up so well. But it doesn't preclude the possibility, and I would love to be proven wrong. Really now, I think it would do us all some good to realize that Friendship is Magic canon has always been kind of fucky. Like, even in the Journal of the Two Sisters, there is a huge continuity error. Celestia writes about how her, Luna, and Star Swirl all found the Tree of Harmony together, which would be impossible since Star Swirl and the other pillars sealed themselves away with the Pony of Shadows, which created the Tree of Harmony. Lots of people just so happen to omit or forget that little detail.
So what gives? That's like 2 huge continuity errors. Is the entire journal not canon? Should we completely disregard it?
No, of course that's not the case. The main 6 found the journal in Season 4, so the real-life journal was only written with Season 4 and previous seasons in mind. Besides, when it comes to things being accidentally retconned, what do you think should be prioritized? What happened first, what has the most prominence, or what was established most recently? I don't really have an answer to that, but I will say that I think it's hard for a lot of fans not to let their personal bias get in the way of coming to a good answer, whether or not something aligns with your headcanon or your personal perception of a character.
Rainbow Dash fans!
And frankly, I think it's dumb to disregard everything in a book or comic or even episode as canon just because of a few continuity errors. Allow me to explain with this brief example. So harkening back to my previous mention of Cadence's backstory in Twilight Sparkle and the Crystal Heart Spell, this book clearly cannot be canon because the antagonists of this story are Gilda and Trixie, and because Twilight is an alicorn but still lives in the Golden Oak Library, we can say for sure that this book takes place within or around Season 4, which is before Gilda and Trixie's return in Season 5 and 6 respectively. But if this story isn't canon, then that means that the Siege of Camelot comics definitely aren't canon because of this confirmation from Cadence, but there was never really any debate about that since at the end of this story, Sombra is reformed, which directly conflicts with Season 9. But if this comic isn't canon, then Fiendship is Magic Issue 1 can't be canon either, considering that it's a prequel, and that's a damn shame considering that there's nothing in this story that contradicts canon, and it serves as a great story for King Sombra, but nope, because this wasn't canon, all of this wasn't canon. But anyways, that's just one book. Hell, the second chapter book, Pinkie Pie and the Rock and Pony Palooza Party, is acknowledged in the main attraction when Twilight says,
"And thanks to Pinkie's connections organizing the Pony Palooza Rock concert, we've got quite a lineup for the Helping Hooves Music Festival."
Oh wait, except it can't be canon because the plot centers around Pinkie Pie's family coming to Ponyville, but Applejack doesn't seem to have any recollection of this in Hearthbreakers, meaning that to preserve the continuity of this episode and this book, this episode couldn't have ever happened. You see how fucky this shit gets? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Look, the bottom line is that equestrian history wasn't thought about until Season 2, world building wasn't thought about until Season 4, but was refined in Season 5, lore wasn't taken seriously until Season 7, and all of this was expanded upon and overhauled by the movie. Continuity between every single episode, and especially every piece of media, was not at the forefront of the writers' minds. They were just trying to entertain, and frankly, that's all I'm grading them on. Make Your Mark is a bit more lore-focused, but for it to be both entertaining and non-alienating to the newer, younger audience, lore shouldn't and will never be the focus, and thus the continuity in it is gonna be a bit fucky too. And that's why I'm saying Tell Your Tale is canon. Yeah, remember when I said that at the beginning of this fucking video? I'm just speculating here, but I think if Tell Your Tale has any main prerogatives, they'd be accessibility and ease of watching. Its episodes are only 5 minutes, clearly for the purpose of capitalizing on short-form content. It also releases on a bi-weekly basis, with the weekly uploads, so it's pretty easy to catch up on. Furthermore, it's on YouTube, so it's free, unlike Netflix. I personally think this means that Tell Your Tale's episodes are written with the intention of reeling people into watching Make Your Mark, or in some cases, catching them up on what's happened or is going to happen in Make Your Mark. It's what's happened in the most recent episode at the time of writing this, and it's happened several times before. Oh, but Quantum, you dumb fuck! The Mirror Stream was created in 2 very different ways, so Tell Your Tale can't be canon. Did you listen to what the fuck I just said? Of course it was created twice. What would the alternative be? Wow, Izzy, this aircraft is amazing. How did you make it? Well, Sonny, to get the answer to that, you're gonna have to tune into the My Little Pony YouTube channel every Thursday. I'm guessing the Mirror Stream was done twice because both staffs got a memo that Izzy and Zip were supposed to create it. But that doesn't mean Tell Your Tale is completely irrelevant. The Mirror Stream, Zip's visor, Senior Butterscotch, Sonny's lantern, Opaline's continuing fixation and frustration with Dragonfire, all of this is explained in Tell Your Tale, but none of it is story related. Tell Your Tale does not have plot progression, at least none that isn't completed in Make Your Mark, and that would devalue Tell Your Tale if you didn't consider that these both take place at the same time in the same world. They're meant to be watched in tandem. Tell Your Tale, for me, has supplemented the long waits between Make Your Mark's chapters. They're not the same show, but they're the same show, and that's been the case ever since Tell Your Tale episode 11, which is a direct follow-up to Make Your Mark chapter 1. Alright, rant over. So what did we learn here today, kids? That's right, I need therapy. Special shoutouts to my patrons, Uncle Graph, Space Cat, Daytone Medic, Lil Mighty, Sylv, Justin Surface, Confounding Outlier, Isaiah Bidala, Uncle Graph 2, Malachi Beetle, and all the other lovely names you see on the screen. This one goes out to you guys.
We're not flawless, we're a work in progress. We got dents and we got quirks, but it's our flaws that make us work. Yeah, we're not flawless, we're a work in progress. So tell me what flaws you got too, 'cause I still like what's flawed about you.